Good afternoon, everybody. I hope you're all managing to join into this webinar okay. My name's Chris Petter. I'm the Associate Dean of the Screen School, and with us in this hour's webinar today, we've got Ray Kilby from MA Film, Jerry Williams from MA Documentary Film, Susan Shaw from MA Television, and Funke Oyebanyo from MA Screenwriting. A really warm welcome to you all. Very happy you're interested to come and hear more about these 4 postgraduate courses in the film and television area. Just want to check you're in the right session. As I just listed the staff there, these are the 4 courses we're covering now in this hour session. So really the fundamental question we're thinking about is, why would you choose to come and study with us at LCC? Well, we're a pioneering world leader in creative communication, part of the University of the Arts London, which is the largest art and design provider in Europe. We've got a great reputation. The college has been established since 1894, and we've been located in our current site, Elephant and Castle, for over 50 years now. LCC is the home to future-facing creatives who explore and rethink what communication is and why it matters. We learn, research, teach, and create across design, media, and screen. We support our students to explore the power of storytelling, develop a career they love, and make a difference across the wider society. LCC is one of 6 colleges that form the University of the Arts London, and as students, you'd become part of a huge creative network. With some of the external recognition for our university, we're second in the QS World University rankings by subject for art and design, and we're the top institute offering undergraduate courses in this section. Students at University of the Arts London form more startup companies than any other university in 2023. We've been named one of the top 5 greenest universities and the highest London ranked university in the Green League. And UAL has moved from 45th to 15th in the Guardian rankings, which is the highest position we've achieved. So there's 3 schools at LCC with about 1,500 students in each one. The Media School, the Design School, and the Screen School, which is where these courses sit. At the Screen School, our core aim is to enable everyone who studies with us to develop the skills, confidence, knowledge, experience, and the kind of attitude and approach that you're going to need to be effective and innovative creators and to go on to succeed in your chosen fields. Our courses have creative communication at their heart, and across all the courses, we encourage students to explore the power of storytelling, creating compelling narratives to develop a career that they'll be passionate about. The Screen School brings together film, television with disciplines around games, animation, virtual reality, and sound and music. And we're organised into 3 programs or departments along these lines. The subjects here are not taught in isolation, but within a diverse creative community, enabling you to bridge the gap between aspiration and success within the creative industries. Our students and staff are a dynamic selection of creatives and practitioners who, through the use of sight and sound, produce innovative and engaging experiences. From collaborative unit projects to industry-led live briefs, you'll have opportunities to work with students across the 3 schools, where you'll be encouraged to share your ideas and draw upon your unique talents and skill sets. And you'll also be able to access opportunities right across the whole of UAL. Within the film and television program area, we have a full range of undergraduate courses and research degrees, as well as these 4 postgrad courses that we're looking at today. We're going to look at the individual courses in a minute, but all 4 take an integrated approach to theory and practice, allowing you to develop all the key practical skills you're going to need, along with an advanced understanding of the context of the work that you're making, through detailed analysis of approaches to filmmaking and understanding your audiences. We're a future-facing university. We're educating graduates who are going to shape and change our industries in the future. Right now, the UK screen industry is not widely known for diversity and inclusivity, and we're trying to address this. Currently, only 1 in 5 key production personnel are women. Only 3% of employees in film and TV production are from a BAME background. 1% of workers in film production are declared as disabled, and only 11% of workers come from lower socioeconomic backgrounds. And in contrast to this, our student body is very diverse. We're, in terms of gender diversity, over half our students are female, 1/4 of students come from the BAME backgrounds, and 19% have declared disabilities, and around 1/4 come from lower socioeconomic backgrounds. And our courses are informed by all the changes in the respective industries and what's coming in the future. And we're trying to develop graduates who will shape and change the respective industries that they go on to work in. We're also a truly global university. We work really hard to provide an inclusive environment for all our students and staff who come from right across the world and bring with them a wide range of perspectives. We have films made that are informed by a truly global perspective. We're a member of something called Select, which is an international film school organization, which brings all kinds of opportunities to us. There's study trips, we have international collaborations, and the UAL alumni network exists all over the world. And if you come and study with us, that's something which will be a real benefit to you as you go on out into your future career. Your experience at LCC will be led and supported by a wide range of specialist staff. The academic teams and technical staff are experienced industry practitioners who have a wealth of specialist teaching and learning knowledge. They continue to practice and remain closely linked with their industries, and this experience is fed directly into the design of our courses. We also use a wide range of freelance specialists coming directly from industry to teach into our courses. We're a college of makers, and learning through doing is at the centre of what we're all about. We like to get our hands dirty, we like to take risks, explore new ideas, experiment with different techniques. We try to innovate in our approaches, and we're really happy to fail in a supportive environment. Whichever course you choose, practice will be hands-on for you. All the courses are designed with an industry focus, preparing you for your future career in the creative industries. We run industry projects using live briefs to simulate a working environment. We invite many industry guests in through external speaker programs. And we've always championed the use of freelance academics working alongside our permanent staff teams who bring their current industry knowledge directly into the course. In terms of employability, it's one of the key things we're trying to do on these courses and preparing you for your job as you leave uni. We aim to build a whole skill set, obviously within your course disciplines, but then in all the whole transferable skills such as resilience, adaptability, flexibility, kind of entrepreneurial skills, and generally trying to understand your own strengths and weaknesses in relation to job opportunities that you will be trying to take up in the future. Much of the work in the creative industries is based on teamwork, and collaboration is at the heart of what we do in the school. On all the courses, you have opportunities to work in collaboration with others outside your main discipline. The projects are many and varied and devised by each course team, often involving external partners. But you can collaborate across disciplines. You learn how to work with other students on group projects, how to communicate and collaborate with technicians and so on. And all these skills are vital things that will be all your employers in the future will be looking for in terms of the skill set that you possess. We've excellent industry standard facilities, and you'll have a chance to explore them if you come into the building, and certainly if you join us, obviously you will at that point. We have archives and special collections, including the amazing Stanley Kubrick archive. We've got extensive equipment stores called the Kit Room. There's all kinds of physical workshops and a fully stocked library and learning zone, providing all kinds of access to physical collection along with our ever-growing e-learning offer. And there's a whole range of college-wide facilities that as a student at LCC you would have access to. As well as your cross-college facilities, film and TV students have access to a whole range of industry standard facilities such as cinema 4K projection room, the kit room I was talking about earlier with a whole set of ring-fence kit for our film students. We have black box studio space, we have a TV studio, post-production suites, digital spaces and so on. And all of these are facilitated by our expert technicians who are going to be a really key part of your learning experience. So that's a little brief overview of the school, and now we're going to dive straight into our different courses. And we've got, first up, we've got Ray Kilby, who's our course leader for MA Film, and he's going to introduce you to some of the aspects within this particular course. So Ray, if I could hand over to you. I think you're on mute there at the minute, Ray.
Sorry about that. Hello, thank you, Chris. My name is Ray Kilby, and I'm a director of 30 years experience and also a course leader for MA Film. My background is in film and television, and I've both written and directed and produced series, single drama, and commercials. And now I run MA Film. We go to the next slide, please, Chris. MA Film is a degree in film in terms of its qualification, but we specialize right from the start with specialisms such as producers, directors, production designers, cinematographers, and people in post-production. And they can move towards editing or sound design or even SFX or various other sort of elements in post-production. As you can see, the director's got a little asterisk next to it because it is incredibly oversubscribed. My course gets a lot of applications per year, between 700 and 800 applications, of which 700 want to direct, and we can only take 8 directors. So it is that particular specialism is quite a tough one to be considered. But you know, there are many other roles that are also very sort of worthwhile and worth looking at. Next slide, please, Chris. Right. So maybe the one before, Chris, can I go back? Yeah. Oh, no, sorry, the next slide. Apologize. Got it. So also, because we make more than one film, we make several films, and we also work on each other's films, we have secondary roles. So you might be a producer on one film, but you might find yourself being a script supervisor on another. And this is also part of our learning process, and also something which is markable and part of our units. So as you can see, these are considered what we would consider secondary roles. So you wouldn't be a producer on one film and then be a director on the second as a secondary role. You might be an assistant director, or you might be a runner. I think often directors serve very well being runners on other people's films because they get to see what it's like running around making tea for everybody else. In fact, I would encourage it. Next slide, please, Chris. So what are we looking for? Well, we're looking for people who interest us, in all honesty. We're looking for people who have stories to tell. We're not necessarily looking for people who've made, you know, a film on 70mm using drones, panning across the sort of, you know, some amazing desert with huge explosions. You can make a film on an iPhone, quite honestly, and providing that the story is very clear and you can tell a story in pictures and you can you engage an audience with a great story, then we're interested in you. Next slide, please. So we also are keen on diversity. I'm very proud to say that all of our films cover a whole range of storytelling, from LGBTQ, from different backgrounds, different cultures, BAME, everything. We really pride ourselves on the stories that we tell are of a very diverse nature. And that also means that sometimes we take people who are not necessarily filmmakers, but people who maybe have done a degree in philosophy, because, you know, we're looking for people who just basically have exciting minds that want to tell stories on film. So, you know, do not feel that if you're not a director or you're not a producer, but you have other skills, please still apply and come and look at our course, because we would be interested in you. The course structure falls into obviously lectures, seminars, technical workshops, masterclasses, and tutorials, but we are predominantly a practice-based course. And you make 2 films during your time with us. And we do follow, the course structure really does follow production. So we follow pitching, screenwriting, working with actors, camera and lighting workshops, production design, sound design, and studio shoots and set builds. Next slide, please, Chris. We look at casting, production, scheduling, insurance, risk assessment, editing workshops, VFX, and grading. It is a very comprehensive course in terms of what you have access to. We encourage all of our students to go to every single lecture regarding whether they're producers or directors or cinematographers, because we think that a holistic view of filmmaking is really important. The only time that we often sort of restrict people is with the for the DOPs, for the cinematographers, because we can't have sort of 34 people all trying to get a hand on a couple of cameras, and we have to on occasion restrict that. Otherwise, they just don't get a chance to learn on our kit. Next slide, please, Chris. We have the major project, which is worth 60 credits, specialist investigation, which is worth 40 credits, secondary roles, introduction to production, and the collaborative unit. And as you can see, this is how it falls in terms of our credits. And you can see there's a workout. This is our course diagram. You can see that the major project runs across the whole of the 4 terms that you're with us. The introduction to production is the first term film where you're given 5 minutes to make a film. It's a 5-minute film that you make. If it's not 5 minutes, you fail. If it's 6 minutes, you fail. If it's 4.5 minutes, you fail. You've got to be exactly 5 minutes. And you're given the scripts and you're given the team. And it's a very good way of building new relationships, but also teaching you about the discipline of making something with parameters, which often happens when you move into the industry. Specialist investigation is worth 40 credits, and this is the written part of the course. And the collaborative unit is something we do across the whole of the university, where we work on projects that allow you to work and make things that are not necessarily to do with film. The secondary role, as you can see, happens during the time of our production period, and also sometimes into post-production. And then you go into the major project where people get the chance to write their own graduation films. Next course. As you can see, we're very well kitted out. We use iFlex cameras, the Alexa Mini. We have shoot on Canon Primes, Kino Flows, HMIs, LED light panels, and sound kits. It's a very well resourced course in terms of the quality of the equipment that we use. The next slide, please. We have very good editing suites, sound design, green screen studios, a film studio. We have the amazing Kubrick archive, which if you join us, I would recommend you go to and find out about, because it is quite an extraordinary resource that we have. Next one. College-wide facilities, we have all these other elements that you can see. I won't go into them now because the time is short, but there's many other resources in the college-wide and also the university-wide campuses. Next. We have many guest lecturers who come from industry. John Paul Kelly, you know, Theory of Everything, Emmy, BAFTA winning tutor. And as you can see, there's a whole range of people that do come in from time to time to talk about their work, and this continues. Thank you. Next slide, please. Thank you very much. Well, I hope you enjoyed that. It's a bit sort of fast and furious. Thank you for listening. If you've got any questions, please write them down now so you can remember them, and I'll wait till the end. And thank you very much for participating and listening to my ramble on about MA film. It's a great course. I hope you enjoy it if you can. Bye.
Thank you, Ray. Okay, so now we're going to hear about MA documentary film, and this is with Jeremy Williams. He's the course leader on that.
Thanks, Chris. Brilliant. Yes, that's me. So, yes, my name's Jeremy Williams. My background is in sort of directing and producing documentaries for the UK broadcasters. I've worked for in the UK, but also abroad. And I've got a big sort of team of associate lecturers who also sort of work on the course, and we'll probably chat about those as we go through. So great. Yeah, we can go to the next slide, Chris, it'd be great. So I think really what our course is sort of mostly about is trying to equip you with the sort of skills that you'll need for making independent documentary film. They'll also be very useful for you going into the indie television business, but we're sort of essentially really trying to give you a set of skills to help you self-shoot and edit and be able to make documentary films. Obviously, as part of that, we'll be expanding your knowledge of the documentary form, trying to mix theory and practice, and lots of weekly screenings of sort of seminal docs to kind of stimulate you really, and to give that sort of context that obviously is important on a course that tries to combine theory and practice. There are a number of short films that you make across the degree, but the big one really is the major project. So sort of, you know, a 20-minute major project film that you research to some extent at the beginning of the first term, pitch an idea for that at the beginning of the second term, and then use quite a bit of the third term, the summer term, to sort of effectively make and edit in the autumn term. So it's a film that is going to be hopefully a kind of calling card for you in the business, and to have success on the festival circuit, and to get sort of award nominations and things like that, but also as a way of being able to obviously explore your own ideas and your interests as a filmmaker. So we're very keen to obviously work with you to help you realize a project on the issues and the themes that are sort of close to you as young budding filmmakers. Next slide, Chris, please. Yeah, so I've kind of touched on that really. Obviously, we don't assume necessarily that people coming on the course have got skills of filmmaking skills. It might be that we've got students who are coming straight from university, but they might be coming from more traditional sort of academic backgrounds where they haven't necessarily studied filmmaking before. It might be that we have applicants who are maybe sort of 10 or 15 years out of university, who've been working as journalists or perhaps already working in some sort of media field, who want to spend a year immersing themselves in documentary film. It might be that perhaps you've got great skills as a photographer and that you don't have a sort of traditional academic background and haven't even got a degree. That wouldn't rule you out from being considered for the course, because you're really interested in a diverse set of voices that and filmmakers that we can get on the course really. Obviously we have weekly masterclasses often in the autumn term and the spring term. We have weekly screenings across the degree, which I think also allows us to explore the documentary form and kind of learn by example of the sorts of films that worked very well in the past. We do events with Channel 4. We have a pitching exercise that we do each year where students have the opportunity to pitch their emerging documentary ideas to commissioning editors at the BBC. And we also work sort of closely with other producers and industry bodies like the Griersons, Doc Society, and One World Media to put on other sessions that I think are sort of really significant for you as filmmakers. So this is the basic sort of overview of the course. You've got 6 different units, which adds up to the MA, sort of 180 credits. Documentary development is the opening unit that you start in the first term and leads into the second term, and is basically a kind of boot camp really for documentary skills, both filming and shooting and editing. So you'll have basic introduction to those activities, and you'll be asked as part of that unit to produce 2 short 3-minute films, a kind of poetic film and a more portraity film in that first term. And they're not assessed. They're just, you do have crits and feedback on those films, but they don't count towards the unit mark. They're there to really give you an opportunity to go out and use the kit as soon as you can, really. And then alongside that unit in the first term, running into the second term, we have the history and theory unit, which gives you some sort of context, obviously, to the documentary form. And the other units sort of work through the year. Chris, we might go to the next slide, because I think there is a course slide, I think, with a structure at some point, which we can probably, yes, there we go. So that a bit like Ray's slide that he showed you earlier, that gives you the overview there of the year, with the documentary development unit sort of spreading across 2 terms. From the first term with the boot camp activities, it then kind of morphs into the unit through which you develop a taster film for your major project idea, and you pitch that in a kind of industry-like forum to tutors and the class to get the kind of green light for your idea, and then continue to make that project across the summer and edit into the autumn. The other units try and dovetail really with that experience. So the ethics and methods units looks at the sort of ethical and methodological questions that apply to documentary filmmaking, and I think also get you to think about those questions in relation to your own practice and your own films that you're developing at that point, really. Contemporary discourses kind of does the sort of what it says on the tin, really. It looks at I suppose the most immediate concerns that documentarians have with the form at the moment in the present, looking at issues of representation, the climate challenge, and trying to contextualize documentary in the current moment. The major project, so most of the major project films are shot in the sort of early summer, so May through to June, with editing in July and then into the autumn, so that you can then all of the students on the course get the opportunity to screen their films in the autumn term to an audience before submission and sort of finishing the course. Next slide, please, Chris, there. So who are we after? Yeah, as I've sort of alluded to, really, we take a lot of recent graduates, I would say, but we also have students who maybe are 5 or 10 years out of university who might consider the course, so students in their late 20s, early 30s. We're interested, of course, in students that might already have had success with their documentaries and have already got documentary films that they've worked on. But I think what we're most interested in is really people who've got a passion for documentary, who want to come and a passion for learning and really sort of being enthusiastic course members. So that's really important. We're also looking for a diverse cohort. Our sort of MA is almost like a sort of MA in international relations. We have students from all over the world, different communities represented. And I think, we pride ourselves on having a really sort of a close kind of group cohort certainly in the years that I've been on the course over the last 5 or 6 years. So yeah, next slide, please, Chris. We have a dedicated set of lightweight camera kit, which is sort of exclusively for the use of our students, C70 camera. We've also got editing facilities. We have across the Screen School, within the film and TV program, we have a set of dedicated technical staff who will help deliver editing and camera and sound sessions, as well as associate lecturers who work with us, who've got experience from industry, who will bring in their skills to bear on these relevance in terms of picture editing and grading and so on. Chris, yeah, next one. There are lots of opportunities to collaborate. There's obviously the collaborative unit, which we have in the second term that all the MA courses are currently involved in. But I mean, an essential element of filmmaking is collaborative in any event. Across the last year, we've had the opportunity of collaborating with UNESCO to make a series of films about the oceans, a live brief that has been set by them. Each year, we also do a collaboration with the Fastnet Film Festival in Ireland, where we judge an award for human rights in the human rights category for that festival. So students get access to all of the films that have been submitted to that festival. They watch them diligently. Our students have just finished going through the entrance this term and come up with a short list for the festival, and they'll also come up with a final sort of winner and a runner-up. And they go off to the festival to present the award. You can see some students there from last year presenting the award at the festival. There's lots of industry connections. I've mentioned already, I think, that we do pitches to the BBC. We have lots of masterclasses. We're also very keen on making an event out of the films when you've completed them, and have these sort of evening screenings in November, where we will show 3 or 4 films an evening and get an audience in to watch those films. Yeah, the student work is very diverse, kind of speaks for itself, really. A lot of concerns with social issues and sort of environmental concerns, racism and justice, and lots of contemporary issues addressed in the work of our students. And they've also reached a really wide audience worldwide at different festivals and being nominated and winning various awards, which we're very proud of. Yeah, Chris, next slide. So that's a set of the posters from all of the films that were screened at the end of last year from our students, so a whole variety of stuff. Graduates also go on to continue documentary filmmaking. Sarah Manny won a One World Media Award for her film 1,000 Girls Like Me. We've had graduate students go on to win fellowships at One World Media and other kind of accolades. So we're very proud of our students, and we keep in touch with them. More recently, we've had one of our students, Shoda Kieran. Her graduation film was sort of basically broadcast almost uncut on BBC's Our World strand in 2022, and her follow-up film, in fact, came out recently on BBC Our World So the students have really been successful in the films that they've made, and we really get behind them in terms of trying to get their films out there and help them get them noticed. What's next up there, Chris? Is there another slide on the end of it? Yes, this was Yinzi Zheng, one of our students from 2022, who was nominated for a One World Media Award last June, and we had a great fun attending the ceremony with her. So I think that's it from me. If you've got any questions, a bit as Ray said at the beginning, if you've got any questions for me, keep them to the end, and I'm very happy to answer any questions you might have about the course.
Great, thank you, Jeremy. And yeah, I mean, I just obviously you've probably been looking at our websites, but obviously we're flashing through a lot of content here today, but go and explore the websites. You can access links into our films. You can see all kinds of student stories and alumni news and so on. So we're flashing through a lot, but yeah, you can follow that up. So now we move on to MA Television, and I'd like to get Susan Shaw to come up now to talk to us. She's the course leader for this course.
Yeah, hello everyone. As Chris has said, I am Susan and I'm the course leader of MA TV. I'm also a producer, director of decades, with decades of experience in the industry for major broadcasters behind me. So on MA Television, we combine television industry intelligence, by which we mean research and critical analysis, with that hands-on experience of program production and development. We bring a 360-degree perspective to the business of television. We ask what it is. Is it TikTok, Netflix, or BBC One? We ask what it means, who it's for, how it works, and what it might look like in the future. Television is, after all, a shape-shifting medium. I would say that the big feature that differentiates MA Television from MA Documentary, as clearly there is some overlap, is that on MA Television, we move through all the genres of factual content, from news to so-called fact-ent, that is factual entertainment, to shiny floor shows, by which I mean TV studio production. And yes, we also include documentary. Next slide, please. So yes, our USP, if you like, is that element of TV studio production combined with a great deal of practical experience of creative development and production. Next slide, please, Chris. So on MA TV, we're very prolific in our output. Everything we do is in teams. And as part of a team, you will make 4 factual programs across the 4 terms of MA Television. Alongside this, you'll develop your industry knowledge. So we explore all the genres of factual television. We explore the commissioning landscape. How do you get the gig? We look at the continuing impacts of the digital revolution in television, and linked to that, the global formats trade. We also look at the context of television production, exploring issues like ethics, intellectual property, and regulation of the television industry. We have the following units on MA TV. We start with an intensive induction in production. This is when students make their news programs in the first term. Our media cultures unit is our critical analysis unit, if you like, and that runs across 3 terms. This provides all the industry context to production. In our collaborative unit, as Jeremy has mentioned, this opens up lots of exciting possibilities. This year, it's UNESCO and the Ocean Agency. Last year, MATB collaborated with a football mental health charity called Psychology. Really exciting, very successful collaboration. Students loved it. Our major projects tend actually to take the form of documentaries, but again, they're immensely diverse, not only in terms of the students producing them, but in the kinds of stories that they tell. This last year, for example, we had a TV studio-based major project that was a business, a startup format. We had an excellent documentary about fetishists and puppy play. We had a documentary of social concern, if you like, looking at a dying community in Lake Como. So there's a real range of topics. Past lives, regression therapy was another topic, along with young Asian footballers trying to break into the Premier League. Finally, in the fourth term, we have our professional futures unit, which is designed to support you as you make those critical first steps into industry and try and get those gigs, get those jobs after graduation. We help you to think about your longer term career path and put as much support behind you in that as we can. Next slide, please, Christopher. So who studies MATV? Well, of course, we welcome applicants who have significant experience, either professionally or at undergraduate level, of program production and content creation. But really, I'd like to echo what Jeremy said. What matters most to us is a passion for factual television, a belief in what it can do, an excitement about visual storytelling and making stuff, that physical process of production. Next slide, please. I am privileged to work with a wonderful team of highly experienced practitioners and specialists with expertise in TV studio production, camera, sound, lighting, and all aspects of post-production, broadcast journalism, news presenting and anchoring, documentary producing and directing, format development and production, executive producing and show running, pitching and winning commissions, and leading start-up enterprises. Next slide, please, Chris. So just to give you a flavor of some of the brilliant visiting practitioners that work alongside us on the course, we have Leo Burley, who last year won the BAFTA for Best Single Documentary with his stunning documentary about modern slavery, hiding in a sports documentary, that being The Real Mo Farah. It won all the awards, actually, also the Grierson and many others that I could name. Jonathan Levi is another BAFTA award-winning executive producer and showrunner. He is something of a true crime specialist. True crime, huge genre, very commercial genre of factual television. We have David Winnan, who is a format developer and global format consultant. That means he's a guy who goes around the world, spent a lot of time working in China, for example, setting up local versions of shows like The X Factor or Love Island. And Last but not least, we have Rosie Allison, probably the most successful film producer in the UK, female film producer in the UK, but also a factual television director and producer. She was the creator, and she is the creator and producer of the Paddington films, the recent Willy Wonka movie, but she is also a good friend of the course and started her career journey alongside me at ITV many moons ago. So I'm really proud of the team that I get to work with. It's absolutely brilliant. In terms of specialist facilities and equipment, we are blessed to have our very own on-campus multi-camera TV studio. This is where you would work with our state-of-the-art TriCaster vision mixing desk. We also have our own dedicated documentary kit and Canon XF605 cameras, as well as, of course, as access to all the wider Screen School and LCC facilities that you have been hearing about. Next slide, please, Chris. So yes, here's our course diagram, which shows the two very chunky units, media cultures and major projects, have a long timeline, whereas production, it's a short, sharp, intensive unit of induction. Our collaborative unit also is fast turnaround. And then in our fourth term, we move on to professional futures. The yellow boxes indicate where you submit your assignments. And even in our critical analysis unit, which is media cultures, there's an element of hands-on production as students are tasked initially in their first assignment with producing an analytical video essay. Thank you very much, Chris. That's it for me. It's a wonderful course for those of you who are really looking to get an overview of factual content production and of the constantly changing and morphing television industry. Come join us. Thank you.
Thank you, Susan. Okay, so last but very much not least, we have our MA Screenwriting course, and I'm going to hand over to Funke Oyebanjo to talk about that. He's one of our senior lecturers on the course.
Hello, everyone. Thank you very much, Chris. You're welcome to this webinar. I don't actually run the course. I'm one of the tutors on the course. It's run by Kelly Marshall, but unfortunately she can't be with us today because because of personal circumstances. So I'm going to do my best to be Kelly and run you through the course and tell you what you need to know about our wonderful course in MA Screenwriting. Next slide, Chris. Thank you. So MA Screenwriting is I would say, and I'm going to make that claim, the leading screenwriting course in Europe and the oldest screenwriting course in the country. And what's wonderful about the course and unique about the course, it sort of mirrors what happens in industry. So if you do apply and you get onto the course, and you're lucky enough to get onto the course, you hit the ground running because it's industry focused. And what we're trying to do and scaffold into the learning and into the pedagogy and into your experience is how the industry runs. What you're supposed to know as a writer, the culture of writing, what that culture looks like, what it feels like, and what is expected of you. So what's really important is that our MA Screenwriting course introduces you to the foundations of contemporary screenwriting practices within a theoretical context. And I know that sounds like a lot of gibberish, but what it really means is that you're applying theory. So if you think of the film, you think of texts like Sid Field's Screenwriting, for example, that's a text. We can call that a theory of practice, and applying those sort of texts and contemporary approaches into your own screenwriting practice. Chris, the next slide, please. Thank you. So why study MA screenwriting? Well, it's a really good question. The course will provide you the opportunity to develop your skills, knowledge, and ability, because it's not, no doubt you had some, but it's actually building on those skills, building on your knowledge, and building on your creative abilities. And you need those skills, you need that development to sort of help you with the career in screenwriting within the UK, and I would say global context of screenwriting. So graduates from our screenwriting course have gone on to win numerous awards. And, you know, here in the UK and internationally, they've made major projects, major films in all, shall I say, storytelling formats, be it feature films, be it the television format, streaming, online, name it. They have been part of that, I would say, revolution and evolution of screenwriting. So Lauren Sequeira, she's one of our success stories. She has just, I'm sure this is on BBC iPlayer, Domino Day. She started off writing Gangs of London, which is on Sky. She's a fantastic success story. And, you know, this is, you know, an original idea that's been commissioned. So it's not that she's left us to go and work on somebody else's idea, although that happens, but this is an original drama. So it shows, first of all, our commitment to diverse storytelling, our commitment to developing those diverse storytellers and storytelling and shaping the landscape of the future. Next slide, Chris. Thank you very much. We've got James Dorner. He's written Nautilus for Disney. Next slide, please. We've got Anna Sibard, the writer of The Essex Serpent. Next slide, please. We've got Hannah Westall. This is really interesting and very important. She's the winner of the Sir Peter Ustinov Television Scriptwriting Award, which is linked to the Emmys. And so our students are not just working well domestically, but they're working well internationally. So they, you know, it's a very successful course and our students do well out of it. Next slide, please, Chris. So let's get to the sort of overview of the course. So you have an idea of when you sign up, if you do get onto the course, what's expected of you, and what you have to look forward to. So the first term, you have the short screenplay. And the reason why we've designed it like that, it sort of acts as a level playing field for everyone. That way, for people that have had experience, maybe in their undergraduate degrees or, you know, as independent screenwriters, a lot of people have written shorts, but, you know, there's some people that haven't. So it's sort of getting everybody on the level playing field and understanding notes, understanding what it is to be part of script readings, receiving notes, giving notes, articulating terms, and familiarizing yourself with the terms that we use within the screenwriting context. So that's your first term. And then also, if you look at the bottom end, you've got the major project. So the major project is your feature film. It could be your feature film, or it could be a television series. Now, we know that you can't do that immediately, you know, it takes a while. So you start thinking about your major project. So that first term, not only are you're working on the short screenplay, you are thinking of your major project, your feature film and your television series, and you're seeding those ideas. You're thinking about how, you know, the terms you've learned, how you've received notes, how ideas are generated. All of that begins in your first term. Now, with your second term, you're working with existing formats. What do I mean by that? You're looking at television formats such as a serial, television serial, and television series, so and existing series such as, you know, EastEnders, Emmerdale. You're looking at how those series are created and how you work as a jobbing writer on those series. And you may want to create one of your own. So it's looking at how we build those and how you build that as a writer. What stories have legs? What stories actually work? What does it take to make a 3-part drama? What does it make to make 250 hours of television, such as Mad Men? It's your story. Can you generate story? And how do you do that? And that's what you'll be learning in the second term. We also have the collaborative unit, and the collaborative unit is where we work with, as you've heard with the other presentations, collaboration is key to the way that our stories are told, and it's key to shifting, changing in this morphing environment. Learning to work as a collaborative artist would stand you in good stead. So we collaborate with graphic design and animation and MA films. And then we have, you can see at the bottom there, second to the last, just on top of the major project, industry interaction. Now, industry interaction is where you actually build your portfolio as a screenwriter. Yes, you at this point, you understand how scripts work, you understand writing, but also you've got to start making those connections in the industry. So we have 4 pathways within the industry interaction. We have Master Club, where you meet. It's like a speed dating event that we run with heads of production heads and development heads from television and cinema. They come in and you speed date and you meet them and you have an idea of how they work and how to pitch to them and just having those informal conversations with them. Or you may decide to interview a major screenwriting development executive in one of the big companies that we have in the UK. And then you can actually upload that interview onto our screen. It's called, sorry, forgive me, Screenwork magazine online. Or you may decide to actually video interview them and you can upload that as masters. We have another portal called Masters. And then you can actually, if you don't want to do any of those, if those particular strands don't appeal to you, you can actually build your own database. And this is where you take the opportunity, because we're known and because we have those industry links, to meet development execs, future producers, talk to them about your project, and then build your own database, which you upload. But it's getting to the discipline of who is working where and looking at those new development execs and forming those links, forming those relationships with them, and having an idea, keeping abreast of what's going on in the industry and who is commissioning what, where, and why, and being part of that. Next slide. This is Kelly, who you'll be meeting if you do apply and you get onto the course. She'll be your first point of contact. Next slide, please, Chris. This is our staff expertise. All of our staff are industry. They've written at least 200-300 hours of television or radio, or they've worked as feature film writers. They've won awards across the main, across the media. And we also, apart from this, our dedicated team of staff experts that you can see here, we also have visiting lecturers that come in and share their expertise through lectures and seminars. Thank you. Now, this is the collaborative project I was talking about. You can see with the collaboration with the graphic and media, you get to make a poster with the graphic design team, or the collaboration with BA Animation. As you can see, you write a script for animation and you work with animators and you learn the whole art of writing for a different medium, animation, and collaborating with those students. And we also collaborate with MA Film. And you've heard Roy, he gave the first presentation. So sometimes we write scripts and present scripts to them, and you have to pitch your scripts to them, and they decide whether or not your scripts are good enough. These are images from the masterclass. Thank you, Chris. Next slide. And these are our graduate stories. As I mentioned earlier, one of our students worked on Gangs of London. One of them worked on Mrs. Williams, and the single drama Killed by My Debt has won nearly 6 or 7 awards from BAFTAs, just across the television production landscape. Who's done very, very, very well. And Tasmin actually writes for Father Brown. I think I didn't mention Jonathan Hall. He writes Solo. Christine Murphy, she wrote Cupcake, which is a romantic comedy, and writes for Hope Street. And then we have Jess Friedman, who's written Doe. And then we have an OBE, and that's Kwame. He runs the Young Vic down the road from us at LCC. So these are the posters, and that's just a snapshot of our graduate success. We've had success with over 30 films and, numerous television programs, name it. Our students write for all of the, I would say, standard serials television like Hollyoaks, EastEnders, Doctors, and Indian Summers, name it. We are there. Our students are there shaping what's going on in the future. We do animations, web series, musicals, theatres, and radio programs. Yes, we don't necessarily focus on the novel, but what we do with it is that we teach you the skills that you have are transferable, and you can actually write your novels and re-adapt them into screenplays. Our students make headlines in terms of diversity, in terms of thinking about the cultural shift that needs to happen in British television and British storytelling. And, you know, I mentioned Lauren earlier on, and she is rewriting the rules. And they all are, as female screenwriters, BAME script writers, we are committed to doing it. And you can see the evidence that what's happening in the industry. Next slide, please. Thank you. Next slide, Chris. So we have an industry mentoring scheme. What does that mean? It means that when you graduate, there are opportunities for you to meet with industry professionals and, you know, support your development and meet with alumni to do that. Next slide, please. Right, in terms of applications, please think about your personal details. You know, you just write your personal details, give us a copy of your CV, write a personal statement, i.e. why you want to do the course, and the portfolio should be work examples and a video task. The next slide will explain, we'll go into further details. So submit 10 pages of a script. This can be a short film or from a larger piece of work. We just want to get a sense of your writing and your style. And then submit a 2-page outline for a second additional project. And with your video task, we would like 2 90-second videos. Name a film you wish you had written and why. And then name a television series you wish your name had been on the credits as a writer and why. Next slide, please. With the personal statements, just, you know, the bullet points are: show your interest, tell us about why you want to study with us, why you want to study in the particular area, i.e. film or TV or web series or online. Tell us why and what you've done so far. That's really your current creative practice is really important. It shows us your commitment to your path as a writer and to your journey as a writer, and how this course, tell us how this course will help you achieve your future plans. Next slide, please, Chris. We've got scholarships and funding, and I'm sure Chris will probably go talk about that. And if he doesn't, we have this information on the website. Next slide, please. And you can apply for a BAFTA scholarship as well to attend the course. I think that the next slide, that's it. That's it from me. And this is the contacts, you know, for admission, but I'm sure you'll find that all on the website. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. So that's our presentations from our 4 different teams there on the courses. I'm sorry we're running a little bit over, but I think we've actually done really well to pack in so much information. And as I said earlier, I mean, on screen, you can see some email addresses if you want to find out about some, you know, more information around general things or accommodation and so on. But obviously our websites are a key place to go. And certainly if you're looking into an individual course in more detail, just do your research. You know, we're here trying to help you make the right choices, and we hope that's going to be choosing to study with us. But it's a critical point in your career. So, you know, take the time, do your research, make sure you're choosing the course that fits you best. So I think we're going to move on now. I think if Becky's on the call here, I think maybe she's going to have some questions which you've been putting into the chat, and we'll see if we can help answer some of those.
Hi, Chris. Yes, we've been answering a few questions as the presentation's been going on, but there are a couple that I'm going to put to you guys now live. So for those who enjoy producing ideas, plots and kind of in-depth characters, which course would lend itself best to that type of student? I guess that's a kind of general question for everyone, and I'm sure you'll probably say all of you.
Yes, I would say all of us. I mean, I don't know if Ray wants to chip in here, but it depends. Do you want to write it? Do you want to produce it? Do you want to film it? What is it you want to do? What is it that really, you know, interests you? Because it's such a broad question. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Not only do we make our films and work with MA Screenwriting, we also write some of our films too. So it really, you just have to look at the courses, and if you want to be more, if you want to concentrate more on actually just writing, then MA Screenwriting is perfect for you. But if you actually want to be making and writing, then I guess MA film is better for you. I forgot to say that, you know, also our students have gone on to great successes. I forgot to say that we've had Oscar nominations and just runner-up at Select this year. People have been working on the Witcher series. It's just come to an end. They're working with George Clooney. You know, they're doing really, really well. Adam Calderon's on his 3rd feature film, and his 2nd film, The Swimmer, is now out doing the rounds. So we have a very successful alumni along with all my colleagues. And again, you know, the people that we work with, as Susan said, you know, the people I work with, Pauline Ash and Francis Boyle and are really just absolutely first-rate lecturers and great in their own field as well. So, you know, we're very proud of the lecturers that we have on our course.
Great, thank you. This is an MA screenwriting question specifically. Do students get an insight into the writer's room culture? And in a more general sense, what are the class sizes like on each of your courses?
We do have the writer's room. You know, if you think about writing for series television, it is a writer's room culture. So we have an element of that, but we also have the element of, you know, thinking about showrunners, thinking about writing as the individual as well. So you've got the writer's room culture, but you also have to go away at some point and do the writing and then come back. So there's an element of that, and that will be when in your second term when we're looking at series and serials. And then the class sizes are, because we split people into different groups, little groups, or shall I say smaller groups. Our intake is usually 90 a year, up to 90 a year, but we split them into about 20, I would say, for workshops.
That's great, thank you. And what about Ray, Jeremy and Susan? How big roughly are your class sizes?
MATV is a smaller course. We can't accommodate a vast number of students because of our TV studio. So I would say we're between 20 and 25 a year total.
My course has on average between 34 and 40 students. We try to keep it around that figure because we have a limited number of films that we can actually produce each year. Because ideally for us, we have 7 or 8 directors, 7 or 8 producers, cinematographers, production designers, and then sound design and editors. I think we make 8 films in the first term, we make 8 films in the third and fourth term, and then we make lots of other films during the course, during the collaborative unit, and also we often do some industry films as well, where we make films for people like Robert McAlpine for money, which goes to the courses, goes to our budgets for our films. So, you know, although we have about 40 on our course, also many other people join us from like BA film practice and various other sort of courses also come in to help with our productions, but about 34 to 40 people.
Sorry, I'm so sorry, Ray, can finish your sentence. I've interjected.
No, it's okay. But remember, you know, it's not just the number on the course, it's the number of applications that matter as well. So, you know, we have 800 applications for 40 places. So it's probably tight. And I would imagine Susan has something similar in terms of proportion. She might only have 20 on the course, but she might have sort of like 400 people applying. So really, you know, what the question you should be asking really is you know, what is the percentage of people applying for the course?
Yeah, and people that get on. And you know, the numbers I gave you earlier, sorry, I'm thinking of my BA hat. I was thinking of my BA hat, so I'm going to have to sort of retract that. I know the workshops that we do are 15, so about 12 to 15 people. So that's what we have in each workshop. So it's not as many as 20. I'm thinking of the BA. And I think on average, the student intake is about 50. And, you know, that's a safe number, 50 to 60. Sorry about that. I was thinking of the BA. I don't know why.
That's it. Can I just say something on your applications, guys? I think this is really worth knowing. When you do your applications, you need to be very specific about what you want and what you're interested in. Don't waffle. You know, don't do your application with your written statement about that starts with, when I looked at the sun and the moon and I gazed into the stars sitting on my grandfather's knee, I pondered the meaning of life. That's not really what you should be writing. What you should be writing is, I want to be a producer, I want to be a director, I want to work in television and create game show formats, or I want to do a documentary about this or that or whatever. But, you know, just be upfront about what you want, and concentrate on that and keep it quite concise. And if you do upload work, I don't know about the others, but I suppose I look at about 10 minutes worth of work in terms of the film. So if you've put an hour-long film in there, I'm going to randomly look at 10 minutes of it at some point. And so you need to be just only send your very best work that we can see. I think that's really important.
That's great.
Just Chris, quickly on our course, we got about 30. We're looking for about 30. Sometimes it's slightly under, sometimes it's slightly over. We've got 35 on the course, and that is actually translates to 35 films. So there's quite a lot of 20-minute films. But you can co-author them potentially. Not many students have in the past. Most students want to make a film of their own, but you can collaborate with each other to make a film. So we encourage students to do that. So yeah, that's. But what we tend to do for the workshops, because obviously 30 odd students are all wanting to learn how to edit and how to self-shoot, is a lot. We have, as a little bit like screenwriting, we have sort of slightly smaller workshop groups, so that you would expect to have only 15 in a sort of technical session where you'd be, have access to 6 pieces of kit. So you'd be sort of 2 of you would be undertaking a workshop together with the equipment, so you get plenty of hands-on time with the kit. So it's 35 for the big sessions, but the workshops will be half that, sort of 15 to 17, depending on the group size.
That's great. Thank you so much. I am aware that we're running quite a bit over now, so I will wrap up questions. If anyone else has any further questions that they would like to ask, feel free to send us an email and we'll be happy to continue the conversations outside of the webinar. But thank you so much for joining us. I'll pass over to Chris just to round everything up, and then I'll end the webinar.
Yeah, thanks, Becky. Yeah, so I hope you gained some insight there into the kind of things we offer. As everyone's saying, I mean, our courses are very competitive. So, think about what you're writing, what you're putting into your applications, the kind of materials you're going to upload and so on. And as I said before, really, I think the key thing is we just want to match up the course you need with the right one. So it's do your research, just have a really good look at what we've got and, ask the questions. Find people to ask. But our website, say student work, is a great place to go and look at what we're producing in the Screen School, and you'll find all kinds of other info on those web pages. So I think we'll just wrap up there. Sorry we've run over a little bit, but thanks so much for taking the time to come and hear about our courses at the Screen School, and we hope to see you at some point in the future.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much, everyone. I'll conclude everything there.
Good.